Today on Shop Nation, I give you some juicy new YouTube recommendations, you get some gift ideas, and I answer some unfiltered questions from all of you. Welcome to a festive version of Shop Talk. I'm Travis, this is Shop Nation. Today we're gonna do things a little bit different. I'm gonna start by giving my channel recommendations. This is where I highlight some smaller maker channels that I think you might enjoy going and checking out. Then we're gonna move into a holiday gift guide where I give you some ideas on what to buy yourself or a significant other. And then we'll wrap it up with an Ask Me Anything segment where you basically got to submit whatever questions you wanted to ask. I made these posts on both YouTube and Instagram, and I picked some really good questions so you get to hear those answers. So let's get into it. All right, I've got 3 channels that I wanna recommend to you if you haven't already watched them. The first one is called Justin Depew. Now Justin is an engineer, like me, and has a YouTube channel that focuses on a lot of different stuff, but most of which is actually on woodworking. Now the first thing that caught my eye years ago when I started watching Justin's channel was just how tiny and compact his workshop was. It was actually in a room of an apartment. An apartment. Yes, you heard that right. Not only was I blown away by how intentional Justin was with his workshop, he took the time to make it all look awesome, which we all know I appreciate. Justin's ingenuity and creative mind really makes his projects fun and interesting to watch. So if you have some small shop hurdles that you need to overcome, I would go check out Justin's channel. All right, and the next one comes to us courtesy of a European YouTuber called Hooked on Wood. Now I found this channel after watching some workbench videos, and his ultimate workbench, is there a copyright issue? I'm the only one on YouTube that says ultimate. No, I'm not. His ultimate workbench is absolutely beautiful, and I was blown away by his attention to detail when he built it. Dennis, who runs the channel, is from the Netherlands and clearly knows his stuff. He also has a really good multi-part series about China tools, where he reviews some really low-cost tools from China and highlights places where maybe you can save some money. Go check out his channel if you're into precise woodworking, funny accents, and the metric system. And the last channel recommendation is called Fleet's Woodshop. You're gonna thank me later, but just go watch the first video. Don't even worry about all the other ones. Just go to the first video that he posted, which is a shop tour, grab some popcorn, and sit down. It is hands down, bar none, the most epic workshop that you or I will ever see. If there's anyone out there who has achieved shop greatness, it is this guy. Now, the video is long, the narration isn't very good, but honestly, you can just mute the video and just watch. My jaw was on the floor for the entire video. You may think that I'm overhyping this, but just go watch. Now, this shop actually made such an impact on me that I wanna do a video in the future condensing the footage from his video and talking about all of the crazy shop greatness that is at every turn in that shop. So if you need your daily dose of shop inspiration, get off my channel and go watch this video. Okay. On to the next one. So if you're watching this video when it comes out, it's probably mid-December. If you're like me, you haven't done much of any Christmas shopping yet, so let me help you out. I'm gonna give you 5 gift ideas that you can buy for someone else or just buy them for yourself. And then my wife also gave me 5 ideas to help us out with the ladies in our life, because let's be honest, that's the hard part. All right, so number 1 on my list is a staple for any workshop, and that is a good pencil. In my case, a mechanical pencil. There seems to be a weird divide out there in shop world where you're either old school caveman pencil, which you sharpen with a knife, or new age iPhone pencil, which is a mechanical pencil. I tend to be on the mechanical pencil side, but I know that not all mechanical pencils are treated equally. That's where this one comes in. This is the Pentel Graph Gear 1000, which is just a cool name, in 0.7mm lead, and one of the coolest features, on top of it just being built really well, is with the click of a button, the tip retracts. This is the #1 worst thing about mechanical pencils, is because that tip is fragile, and when you throw it in a drawer, it breaks and it bends and you can't use it. But the fact that you can retract this and throw it around and then pick it right back up and make the tip come back out is huge. That's why I think this is the perfect shop pencil. You can get a pack of 3 of these for 25 bucks, which is kind of expensive for a pencil, but these 3 should last you forever. The second item on my gift list is this LED fixture that I put throughout my entire shop. I did a whole video on that, and I am completely blown away by these things. They're made by a company called LZ Home. There's a ton of different ones out there. I can't really vouch for any of those, but I know these are good. I've had these for several months now, never had a single issue. Each bulb puts out 9,000 lumens, and I have 7 in my garage, and as you can see, it's pretty damn well lit. These things go for about 32 bucks a piece, or you can get 2 for 60. They tend to go on special a lot, and these are very, very popular. I get a lot of good feedback on these. So if you need light in your shop or you know someone who does, good option. Now for item number 3, we have an 8-volt DeWalt handheld electric screwdriver, which might seem like an odd pick, but I have one of these in my office and we keep one inside the house, and it is hugely useful. What makes this one really cool is, number 1, has a rechargeable battery. I've charged it once the entire time I've had it. It holds a really good charge. The other cool thing is it has one button, and it's actually operated by the twist of your wrist. So if you want to tighten something, go to the right, loosen something, go to the left, and the speed at which you go is dependent on how much you're twisting your wrist. How cool is that? Now technically this is over the $50 mark. I think it's about 70 bucks, but I thought it was so cool it was worth sharing. So this is number 3. All right, for number 4, I have a magnetic stud finder. I am totally done with those voodoo meters that just don't work. This is a piece of plastic with a magnet in it, and it never runs out of batteries, which is one of its best features. Now technically it's not a stud finder, it's a screw finder. It actually locates the screws in your drywall, but you have to assume that all those go into studs. And this little stud buddy is sort of the original. They're like 9 or 10 bucks, super affordable. But then I found the Stud Buddy Plus. Now the Stud Buddy Plus is better because it has plus in the name, but the biggest reason is because it has levels built into the stud finder. And that's important because with the original, if you're locating a screw, you can still rotate about that screw, and if you're making marks at the top and the bottom, you have to make sure you're perfectly up and down. Now that you have a level, you can make sure your stud locator is straight up and down, make your marks, you've located your studs, bada bing, bada boom. But one downside is you can't do the dad joke where you go over your chest and it beeps because you're a stud. And finally, number 5 is the Sheet Goods lifting handle. This thing is an absolute lifesaver, especially when you're buying MDF. But chances are, if you've watched this channel, you're gonna buy a sheet of plywood at some point in your life. And if you've ever tried to wrestle those off of the rack, into your cart, through the store, into your vehicle, then out of your vehicle into your shop, there's a lot of opportunities for you to screw something up. That's where this thing comes in handy. You just clamp it over the edge, and the weight of the sheet actually closes in the clamp around your workpiece. You pick up by this handle, and you can actually lift it fairly easily. Downside, of course, is that you look like a weirdo walking into the big box stores with this thing, but everyone else has torn shoulders, and you don't. So who's the weirdo now? This one's made by 5 pairs. It's like 31 bucks. Link down below. All right, so real quick, I'll breeze through the picks that my wife picked out for the special ladies in your life, mostly because I don't know what the heck these things are. As you can see, the first one is to handle these smells and farts that run throughout your household. It is a Capri Blue candle and reed thing in the scent of volcano, which I'll just say is lovely. Now, why would you go with either a candle or a sticky thingy? Well, the sticky thingy is safe for kids. So the scent kind of migrates up the sticks and makes your farts smell better up here. The candle obviously has fire, so we have a 1.5-year-old, so this is a good option. Okay, number 2 are these Dragon Wave tumblers slash wine glasses. They've got this fancy twist in them. I don't know if you can see that. Gives you some grip when you've had a couple. They just look nice. This would be great for people in your family who like enjoying a cocktail or a glass of wine, which is everyone in the entire world during COVID. So really, it's the gift that keeps on giving. You can get a set of tumblers for $29.99. And number 3 is this fuzzy ass blanket. Now this is by Bedsure. It's a Sherpa, which I thought was the guy that carried your bag up Mount Everest, but apparently it's also a blanket. And we all know that just about every girl out there enjoys soft things. So another super safe bet. This thing is only $19.99, which I guess is cheap for a blanket. I don't know. Number 4 on her list is an object that I should probably be making out here in the shop, and that is a charcuterie board. I had no idea how to say that word, and neither did my wife, and we looked it up and we said, that has a naughty word in it. This is the perfect gift for people that think that they have all these fancy parties, and this just ends up stashed away in the back of their cabinet in their kitchen, never to be seen again. The set is actually pretty nice. It comes with the board and all the little fancy utensils. This entire set is $49.99. And last but not least are some handmade polymer clay earrings, which are just so cute, from Lopo Studio. She actually lives pretty close to us, and I've helped her out with some 3D printed tooling to make the earrings, so I thought this was a good one. My wife loves these earrings, and everyone she talks to likes them, so another pretty safe bet. You can go find her on Etsy and Instagram at Shop Lopo Studio, and each set of earrings is about 20 to 25 bucks, plus she does custom stuff if you want to go that route. So number 1, you're supporting a small business, and 2, just look at those danglies, huh? Okay, so as I mentioned, all of those links are gonna be listed down below in the video description. So if you're interested, Go check them out. So before we finish with the Ask Me Anything segment, let's take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is Skillshare. Now this is actually another great gift idea if you've got a tough to buy for family member and you want to give them the gift of knowledge. Skillshare offers thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people on topics including illustration, design, videography, freelance, and more. I actually just started some classes on doodling because let's face it, with a full-time job, a YouTube side hustle, a new house, a 1-year-old, free time is just something I have too much of. Okay, all jokes aside, if you are curious about a subject, even as obscure as doodling, chances are there is a Skillshare class about it. Skillshare classes include a combination of video lessons and projects, so you really get to practice what you're learning, which makes you hold on to that knowledge, unlike high school chemistry. Most classes are under 60 minutes with short lessons that you can squeeze into pretty much any schedule, so even someone like me has time to fit them in. You get access to all of those classes for less than $10 a month with the annual subscription, and you don't have to sit through a single ad, like this one. This holiday season, give a gift that means more. Get creative and learn how to make the perfect handmade gift with Skillshare's online classes. The first 1,000 people to click on the link in the video description below will get a free trial of Skillshare's premium membership. Thank you, Skillshare, and let's get back to the video.
All right, so we're back from that brief intermission, and I hope you enjoyed it, or you might have just right on through. So you might have recently seen Travis post something on his Instagram, I believe, Ask Me Anything. And YouTube. And so I have a list of questions in front of me that all of his subscribers submitted. So
these aren't all the questions. I just kind of picked out some from the submission. So if you did submit, I appreciate it. Hopefully you made the list.
All right. First up from Smiley McCabe from YouTube. What's the dumbest, most annoying comment you have gotten to date, aside from this one?
So 2 come to mind right off the bat. The first one is when somebody asks a question that is clearly answered by the video. Why are you asking it if you're not going to bother watching the video?
Hey, do you have plans for that?
Yeah. And the second one is when, this was actually most recently on the lighting video that we did in the garage. It was like a 10-minute video, and yes, it was technically a 10-minute video to screw in a light bulb. But people would say, like, you know, it took 10 minutes, I could have done it in 30 seconds. Well, first, why'd you watch the whole video? And second of all, I have to explain kind of what I'm doing, and that's just part of YouTube. So, sorry about you.
All right, so the next we have Armand Navarro. When and why did you start making YouTube videos instead of building out your shop?
It was something that I decided really early on. So I've always been an avid watcher of YouTube and consumer of YouTube videos. And I watched a lot of different making channels, not just woodworking, but metalworking and electronics and 3D printing and all that kinds of stuff. And I found myself always drawn to the videos around people's shops. So whether it was a shop tour or a specific thing for their shop to make their workflow better, I just found I really enjoyed that content, and I couldn't find one place for that. So knowing that, as soon as I decided to kind of embark on the journey of building out my shop, I kind of thought, all right, if I'm gonna go and do this, I might as well document it. And I told myself that I would do 10 videos because it's a pretty big endeavor. For anyone out there thinking about starting a YouTube channel, it's kind of daunting. You don't really know where to start, you don't know what goes into it, you don't really know what lays ahead of you. So I did 1 video and wanted to quit.
I will say that you remember how I would be like, hey, are you recording? It was worse at the beginning because I would call him and he would be recording on his little iPhone 6. So everything in the first few videos are for the iPhone 6, and then I actually got you your camera for your birthday.
Yeah.
Which leads us to our next question from Casey Salyer on YouTube. What cameras and editing software do you use?
So I actually have a link on my website to everything I use if you want to go check that out. But the camera is a Canon SL2. It's a fairly low cost camera. It's not the most high-tech, high-end camera. It's a good camera for video. The microphone I use is a little lapel mic. It's a wireless one. Again, I'll link that. And then for videos like this, I have a shotgun mic by Rode that I use. And then for editing software, I use the Adobe suite of products. So Premiere Pro for editing, and I use things like Photoshop and Illustrator for thumbnails, stuff like that.
All right, the next one is from Derek Dunbar on Instagram. What does your typical day look like? Your morning routine, your work hours, your shop and home improvement hours, and your leisure time, and your wife time.
What is leisure time? Well, there's not much leisure time built into there. So as you may or may not know, I have a full-time job. So does she. So this is definitely a side hustle for me. My morning typically starts at 5:30. That's when my alarm goes off. And I come down here to the office and I try and do 1 hour of Shop Nation work every morning. And that could be anything from fulfilling orders to updating the website to doing some editing, whatever it takes. While I'm doing that, I drink a pre-workout to get ready for my workout, which I do in the morning. So immediately following the work here, I go do a workout, then I go shower. I try and help her get the kid ready in the morning, but that's kind of falls on her most of the time. Then I head to work, again, full-time job, so I'm there all day. I don't do Shop Nation stuff at there. I make sure I focus on that career. Come home, you know, we have a 1.5-year-old, so it's chaos as soon as you get home. It's dinner time, it's bath time, it's putting him to sleep, that kind of stuff. And then once he goes to sleep and everything's kind of settled down, it's either time for us to hang out, or if she goes to sleep, I'll usually come down here and do a little bit more Shop Nation work. So my day is kind of bracketed with Shop Nation, the front end and the back end, and that's a weekday. On the weekends, there might be more or less, just depending on what I'm doing.
All right, the next question is from Senor Jose. No way, Jose. Do you make plans for all or most of your projects? Or do you typically just wing it and start building and measuring as you go?
So I would say I'm getting a lot better at going in with a plan to start. A lot of my big projects that have been subjects of videos and series on this channel, like the Ultimate Cabinets and the Ultimate Workbench, those were totally winging it the whole time. And then I made plans afterwards, which kind of makes it tough. And you realize when you're making the plans that you could have made something a lot easier than it was. So for big projects for me going forward, I always try and make a plan and then kind of abide by that plan. One, because it makes the project go a heck of a lot smoother, but two, I know that the plans are good and will work for somebody trying to use them. So like the most recent example of this was the compact workbench build, which was a 3-part series. I made that entire plan ahead of time and then just followed the plan and built the project. But that's not to say that a lot of projects don't have some element of winging it. I would say probably over half definitely have some element of that. I always tend to start with a sketch though. I have a piece of paper and a pencil and I just try and lay out what I'm trying to do from like a big picture standpoint. If you saw my video on how I make my build plans, that's how I start all of those as well. So even if I don't go the full length of making build plans, I always start with a sketch and I find that helps me.
All right, our next question is from Lucent Odom from YouTube. We all know the idea of what you do for work outside of YouTube, but what are some further details you do for work? You work to serve me. Just kidding.
So I'm an engineer. We're both engineers, actually, mechanical engineers. Up till this point, I've worked in engineering, and now neither one of us really work strictly in engineering. I am now in sales, and she is an account manager, so similar there. My day job, I work for a company that sells CNC equipment. So we sell to manufacturers, machine shops, things like that. It's something that I've always really been drawn to and interested in, and I get to use my creative brain on a daily basis, so I really like it. But yeah, that's it. So I'm an engineer that is now in sales.
The next question. All right, Kyle, do I have to say period?
No.
Okay, Kyle Murphy, 1989, from Instagram. About to purchase a 3D printer. Is the Prusa the only way to go? What are your thoughts on the Mini?
So the Mini is referring to as the Prusa Mini. I have been a big fan of Prusa just because their stuff works. I think they build a really good quality 3D printer, but of course it's not the only way to go. I know a lot of people that have the Ender series of printers, and those are cheaper. They may come with a little bit more headache, but I think they still work perfectly fine. So by no means is Prusa the only way to go. I just have had a lot of luck with them, so I always recommend them.
Hey, Ben Hinton from YouTube. He's asking, when is your wife going to narrate again and use her super cool sound effects? Thank you. And when are we going to get another Matilda monologue from the wife?
Yeah, when are we? If you need a quote from Superstar, Matilda, Joe Dirt, from any of those movies on the spot, she's your girl.
Stay tuned because I can't be put on the spot because I just like to be weird when I want to be weird, hence my Joe Dirt shirt. It's not really Joe Dirt, but I like it because, you know, gotta keep on keeping on. And they scrub because you don't have to. Next. Ed Miller, 76. When you moved into your new house, I thought you mentioned you would be using a separate structure to set up your new shop. But I see you setting up in your garage. Is this temporary, or will you be using your garage?
When we bought the house, I mentioned that I ideally want to build a detached shop, and that's still in the cards, but realistically it's not going to be anytime soon. So for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be in the single car of the garage. But again, that plan has not gone away. It's just kind of pushed down the road a little bit.
All right, next we have Mike's Garage from YouTube. Do you ever see yourself quitting your day job to be a full-time YouTuber? I would quit to be Miss Shop Nation. What do y'all think about that? Like Tuesdays with Kerynn and like I just on the nail gun.
It's an idea.
Like I could go live. That would kind of be fun.
So I get this question a lot, whether I want to quit and go full-time with YouTube. When I first started, I didn't think it was possible. Now I know it's possible, but I just don't have the desire to do that. I really enjoy what I do as a full-time job. The last thing I want is for Shop Nation to turn into a job. And there have been times where it feels like it's turning into that, but I just kind of change course and do something different. If I did it full-time, I'd have to rely on, that being our income, and you just become slave to advertisers and, promotions and all that kind of stuff. And I don't have a desire to do that.
But if Flex Seal wants to sponsor a video, please, I've been dying
We're
for
obsessed
years.
with Flex Seal.
I've been dying for years to use Flex Seal on something, so send me a case and I will make something happen.
We'll do something with Flex Seal.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know what's my obsession. I think it's because I put the boat, with the...
Yeah.
All right, the next question we have is from Chad's Gun from Instagram. How do you manage it all? Your 9 to 5, home life with your family, your online business, and YouTube. Is the missus involved? I have wanted to start an online business, but find it hard to juggle it all.
Yeah, it's tough. It's not easy. I would say the missus is not directly involved. She would help if I asked her. I just don't typically ask her for help. But she is definitely indirectly involved. Like what she does allows me to do it. Like as I talked about, a lot of times my Shop Nation time is squeezed in on the front end and the back end on a lot of days, but sometimes that just isn't available, or it's only available because she allows me to do that. So I would say she's definitely indirectly involved, and a huge reason why this is a success. To be short, it's tough. It's really hard. If I were to know how much time and effort would go into it ahead of time, I may not have started. But that's kind of the beauty of being naive when you start, because you don't know that. So, I would say if you have something that you're passionate about and you want to do, and you've always been sort of called to do it, just start. Just do it. You don't have to, go in head first, like cannonball in the pool right away. Just start. Just do little things like I did. I wanted to make 10 videos, and the first couple were on my iPhone, and they were terrible, and no one watched them. But I started.
You did have like OG9 followers. If you're an OG9 follower, one of the OG9 followers that is not related to me, let us know who you are, because it would be really interested. I think it was me, my mom, my dad, your parents. I'm sure you subscribed to yourself. So if you are one of those like OG, even like the 100 followers, I'd really like to know who you guys were from the beginning.
You guys have a lot of patience.
I remember that video where you're like walking around and you have the hood on your head. Do you remember that? Like, oh, this is my shop, and you're like that, and you just thought it was cold, and now we're in Ohio. Do you remember that video?
The first one?
Was it the one where like you had on like a hoodie and it was gray and you're like this, but then you had like mismatched socks and Crocs on?
Oh yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah, but you look like an alien in the corner. But anyways, message us. What kind of name was that? Eboob or Ebob?
Ebob.
Bill Ebob from YouTube. If you could be sponsored by one woodworking company, which would it be?
The only one that really comes to mind would be SawStop, just because I'm in the market for a table saw and would love to showcase a brand new SawStop.
I looked up how much they were, and I was like, whew, you don't need that. We have insurance. They can sew your fingers back on.
It's my wife.
So the last but not least, from Make Smith Studios on Instagram. What is the turnaround time from filming to uploading to YouTube? Do you have any marketing tips?
Those seem like two very different questions, but the first one, total time from filming to uploading, that doesn't tell the whole story. There's still there's planning, there's filming, there's editing, and then there's uploading. So that entire time I've found on average for me is anywhere from 20 to 25 hours roughly. And that wildly varies based on what the video is. A video like the one we're doing right here takes a little bit less prep work, less editing, so it's it's probably well below that 20 hours, but for a big build, it's typically more than 20 hours. And then marketing tips, just be relevant and be useful. I mean, in the early days, I just tried to insert myself into discussions and be useful and be authentic. I wasn't, you know, just trying to shamelessly promote my stuff. I wanted to help people first and then have them realize that maybe what I had to offer was useful. Well, thanks for the help. All right, thank you so much for watching. That brings us to the end of the video. Hopefully you got at least some channel recommendations, maybe some gift ideas, and if anything, were just mildly entertained during this video. Love to hear what you thought. Leave those in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. If you're not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. I will see you guys on the next project, and as always, continue to pursue shop greatness.